Okay, so hi, good afternoon. Um, I'm here to, this video is to help explain like how we're going to format our project. And if you're unsure of where to save your changes, I'll show you how. So for example, here in our file, when we go to index.php, that's where the front page is. So that's like the first thing the user like lands on, and you'll see that there's an empty modal here. So you can see it's just the outside of the modal. There's no content in it. So for the stuff you're assigned with, most of you guys are assigned like the modals, right? So you only need to make like the inside of the modals and not like everything else, like the overlay and stuff. It's just the inside, so the forms and stuff. And what that looks like is, if you see here that the HTML is blank, like for the modal, right? And you can see there's nothing else. There's like no modal. There's no form or whatever. You can see there's no form or labels. But then when we click on sign up, you can see it fills up, and that's because of its JavaScript. And I'll show you what the JavaScript looks like. So so currently our folder structure is that there's our front page, which is the index.php. The other pages are mock data, JavaScript, images, the CSS, and our components. So where you'll be saving your modals is in the components under modals. And you can see here that there's some few examples here of the modals that you're gonna use. Like here, there's the register modal. So you can see this is the content inside the modal. And then I'll close that. So what the JavaScript looks like, how it enables it to load, is that we have a JavaScript here, folder, and then inside is pages. And then there's the landing JavaScript. So here's where we are gonna put all our handlers, and also you can see that there's a load modal function. So what that does is that based on the modal type, it will load your modal design. So for example, here, I'll make a button at the end of this page so that you can see that you could just reuse this function over and over. So let's go ahead and quickly make that. Okay, I'll put that in front here. So under here, this is, okay, let's make a container, and then button.btn primary, and then this is show modal. Okay, so in order to, okay, let's refresh. Okay, there we have, and it does nothing so far. In order to show the modal, what the attribute that you're gonna add to the button is this. It's data toggle modal type button, and then data toggle modal data target the modal we're targeting. So let's go ahead and uh, do that. So back to our landing.js. Oh wait, no, back to our index.php. We copy this and then we paste that. And the name of our modal is modal. Yeah, here is the name of the modal. So currently, when we click show modal, it's not gonna show anything because the modal is empty. So let's do that. Let's refresh. And when we click, you can see that there's no modal, right? It's just the overlay. Um, so for your modal, you're gonna create, let's see. You are going to create, go here in modals, and then I'll create a new file, and this will be example dash modal dot php. Okay, so back in our JavaScript, remember the load function I told you about? You can actually add here append to the end. So I made a modal called example, and then we just need to put the address of where that modal is. So currently, this landing page is on the outside, this index.php. So we'll go inside the components, it will go inside the modal, and then it will load the empty.php. I meant the example modal. So let's write that. So components, modals, and then this is the example dash modal.php. Okay, so when we're gonna click on that button, we need to have a load modal type. So currently, when we click on that, there's no load modal type. So we're gonna add it dynamically here in our landing.js. So going back to our index.php, we have the button over here that we just made. We are gonna add an ID. So let's go ahead and add that. ID will be example button, just an example. Uh, and then we'll go back to the landing.js. I'll just copy this so that, okay, so this is example button because we're gonna grab it by its ID. And currently the ID of the example button is example button. So let's grab that and then let's put that there, example button. So we're gonna set an event for this button. It's going to be a click event. So let's go ahead and do that. Add event listener, and then that's going to be a click event. And we're gonna call a function. So there we go. We're gonna call load modal. So load modal is gonna be called, and then the value that we're gonna pass is the value that we specified, which is the example. Okay, so that you can see that there is stuff inside the example modal. Let's just place a header. It's like, hi, I am an example. Okay, so we already have hooked up that functionality in JavaScript. So to recap, what we did is we added an ID to our button. We added uh, grab the DOM element, and we added an event listener to the button. So there's the event listener. And then we also added a modal type, which contains the address of the new file that we just made, which is our modal that we're assigned with. So this like the modal that you're assigned with. And then next, we're gonna show that here. Let's go ahead and load. So refresh, show modal. Okay, it's not showing. Okay, it's example modal type. Oh, it's because I didn't pass the click event. So example, let's see if it grabbed the button. Console.log. Hello. Okay, let's go back. Inspect, refresh, console, go to the end, show modal. Okay, it says hello. So example button, we're adding an event listener, click event. Okay, it's just console.logging hello. We're gonna load modal, and then the modal type will be example. Example. Okay, load modal, it says hello, and then load modal is example. So it's going to show the modal contents. All right, so let's do that. We'll add refresh. Okay, and you can see here, there, hi, I am an example. That loaded. So what we're gonna do so that there's like a background, we're gonna add a card to the modal. So based on the other modals, I'll just copy error modal here, and then I'll paste it here in example modal, and then I'll just change the type. So in this first section, this section of HTML here, this is the title. So let's put here example modal, and then for the body and footer, you can put anything. So let's put like an H5, and this is an example. So there we go. And then we're gonna go ahead and refresh, and then it will show the changes. So you can see that whatever design you put here, it's gonna load because we already hooked it up with the JavaScript. And the advantage for this is we don't need to, like, for example, declare 1 million modals. So for example, you don't need to like put like modal 1, modal 2, modal 3, modal 4. It's just one empty modal. And then based on what the button is, or based on how you're gonna call the function, it's going to load that modal. So for example, if you're doing testing, you don't want to like click the button every time. We're gonna grab the modal contents here because we're going to show the modal. Okay. We're not gonna show the error modal. We're going to show the example modal. Example. Load. So we're gonna first we're going to grab modal itself, and we're gonna show the modal. Okay, so in our landing page, in our index page, that's the ID. This is here. We're grabbing that, and we're gonna do show there. And then after show is the example. So let's go ahead and refresh that. Okay, was it correct? Modal.show. Okay, let's go ahead and check because I'm bootstrap, strap, modal. Because I kind of, if you're like forgot the syntax, it's like okay, you can just check the documentation. It's somewhere here. So my modal. Oh, okay. So it's my modal and then show. So you just copy that, and then we paste that. So you can see that I forgot the syntax, but like I know what I wanted to do. Just reference the documentation, and then okay, like that. Delete that. Okay, and then let's go back, and then refresh. Okay, it's not showing modal contents. Okay, so let's see why. Console.log, and then we'll log this. See if it grabbed it. Inspect. Oh, okay, I know why. So let's go ahead and go back to our modal here in the landing page. And then here it's aria hidden and then false. So what actually happened is it did show, but since that setting was for hidden is true, it will automatically close. So no matter if like we put the JavaScript or not. So let's save that. Let's go back to landing. Let's save that. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and do this. All right. So let's go back and refresh. Still not loading. But if we show modal, okay. So modal.show. Okay, let's check. Okay, we can actually grab this and then we'll put it in the landing index page. So body, custom scripts, modal. Test. Oh, okay, so it's type text JavaScript. Okay, add inline script HTML. So like um there we go. Okay, there we go. And then okay, so let's try loading if that would show. And it still doesn't show. Did I copy the modal right? Console.log modal inspect console. Oh, okay, because it doesn't have the jQuery. Control X. Okay, so foot needs to be under foot. Okay, there we go. It showed. So that's how also you do real-time debugging. Like the you inspect the you inspect the what's this? You inspect the console. Okay. So here we don't have modal types, obviously. So let's put that there. And then we'll refresh. And then you can see there. That's how you put it. But for this, since that happened, custom JS scripts. Okay, we need to put, yeah, it's correct. It's at the bottom. So here we could just copy this and then paste it in landing. Because I don't recommend doing inline scripts because it will inline scripts are not good because it will make your website less secure. Okay, so I'll go ahead and paste that here in our landing. Okay, modal show. Yeah, there's two modals showing. All right. Okay. So let's add another modal. Like for example, I want to make a registration. Let's add here register example.php. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy that error modal. You can just reuse the format and then just change like stuff. So here is example registration. And then let's do a form. Yeah, that's the form. Um, it's a button, modal body, view, word wrap. Okay, so that's clearer. Div footer. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a form. And of course, you can research Bootstrap form, and then forms, and then here. Let's make sure it's version 4. So we could just copy this whole thing, and then we can paste it here. Okay, let's go ahead and paste that. form, and then replace this button. And then we'll add the submit inside there. Okay. So this is we just added. Oh, I saved it in modal.php. Okay, let's delete that. Okay, because it's supposed to be in example modal. Let's go ahead and paste that. Oh no, no, not example modal. We made a new one, register example, so that I could like show you how easy it is to put in your UI designs and changes. Because you don't need to put like the JavaScript because the JavaScript is already there. So we made a modal page. We'll go back to landing.php and then we'll add that here. So, okay, let's put this function here below. Oh wait, no, it's fine there. We'll add that here to the modal types and we'll name it example register. And then we'll add the address of that modal. So where is it saved in? So again, it's saved in components, components, modals, and then we have here register example, register example dot php. And then since we already have that, we are going to there's a button, pero I'll show you that you don't actually need the button to design. So for example, if your modal is like something that's not on this page, you can still design it. For example, your modals is select your address and you need to see what it looks like in order to design it. You can like you can put it like for example here, it doesn't need to be the same name. You could put like select address. And then we'll put that here. And the modal type is select address. So just to make it clear, so let's put that here, select address. Select address. And we'll put like an H1 too. H1. Hi, this is the design for select address. And then we'll refresh. Okay. Register example. Let's go ahead and go back to the modal content, select address. Okay, because I put okay. Then put there select address. And then when you refresh, it should show register. Did I spell it right? Register example. Let's just copy that name to make sure. Modals register example.php. There, because it's not spelled right. Okay. Register, so that's why it didn't. Okay. And then there you go. So you can see that you could easily incorporate your modals designs anywhere. And we're using the components format so that this is reusable. So for example, if you want to change to another modal, like for example here, we have like some screens here, like confirm address, and then it goes to the next thing. Okay, let's see. For example here, we have uh, here, this is tell us more about your project. And then when you click on next, it goes to the next modal, which is select your address. So let's do that. Let's do that so that you can see. So new file, tell me.php, and then okay, we can put let's go to error, just copy the whole thing, modal tell me.php, and then uh, tell me, and then here we don't need a form, we just need a container. Oh yeah, I don't I forgot the class name. We just need a modal body actually, not the container. and then a modal footer. So let's put that modal body, then modal footer. Okay, and then word wrap, and then next. So let's put that there. H1, tell us about your project. And then here, button, button, and then next. Okay, so let's give this an ID. ID will be next button example, because we're gonna grab that so that when we click, it's gonna go to the next modal. So there, tell us about your project. Okay, let's add that. So let's go back to landing.js. We're gonna add that. So we have the select address modal, and then let's name it tell us. And then the directory of the modal is like the same for all the modals, and then just change the name to the name, which is tell me. Uh, tell me. And then let's change that. So instead of select address, we'll load tell us. Oh, that's not that's not the okay. Okay. So select address. We also need to put it there. Okay. So tell us about your project. And then when we click next, it's going to go to the next modal. So we're gonna grab that button. So again, when we're gonna add functionality, we grab the DOM element. It's the name of that button. It's next button example. Okay, and then we'll next button. Okay, we're gonna add a functionality, add event listener, and that's click. Next button, next button. Okay, let's go ahead and test. Uh, next button. Okay, so let's go ahead and refresh. Oh, did I accidentally? Tell us. Because the modal is not showing anymore. Okay, so I made a mistake. Okay, so we have the DOM element, next button example. Let's go ahead and add an event listener. This will be the next button. It will be a click, and then it will log next button. Okay, we're not gonna load a modal. Okay. Hmm. Okay, that's weird. So next button example. Oh, okay. So we don't add an event listener here. The reason why that didn't work is because we only add the event listener once the modal has loaded. So we have the modal.show, and then the modal contents tell us. So load. Okay, let's add a function here. So when it loads, it's gonna add the event listener. It's gonna load tell us, and then it's gonna grab that event listener. Okay, let's load that. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So it doesn't know what next button is. Document dot get ID. Next button. Right. Let's do that. Okay. So it loads the tell us. Okay, so it just loads this, and okay, so let's just do an on-click function because I forgot the syntax for the load, because there's a feature where after it loads you can do a next action, but I'm too lazy to search for that. So for the meantime, let's just do uh onload function. So let's go const and then next, and then we'll do okay, and then we'll put that there. Document.get the element by ID, and then add event listener, click, okay, and then we'll add that to the landing. So we'll go to index.php. Oh no, it's the tellme.php, and then we'll add an on-click event, on-click, and then function, which is next. Okay, and we'll go back to JS, and then uh, let's console.log first to make sure that it connected. The next button was clicked. Okay, so let's inspect console. All right. So yeah, the next button was clicked. Okay, so uh, after we click the next button, we are going to load the next modal. So let's go ahead and load. Okay, so load modal. We're gonna grab the modal itself. Uh, load modal. Load modal. Okay, basically we're just doing doing the same. Modal contents, and then it's gonna be select address. Okay, let's try that. There you go. But it closed, so we need to make sure that when we click, it's not gonna close. We'll go back to tell me. We're gonna delete the data dismiss. Okay, and then we'll refresh, and then there you go. So that's how you integrate the JavaScript with your modal functionality. But you don't need to do the JavaScript right now. It's fine. It's totally fine if you just do the modal design and then just save all your designs here. So if you don't know how to hook it up in JavaScript, it's like okay. We can do that later. What's important is we have the design for the modals. So we have like all the designs here. We make sure that we finish it because this is where we're gonna put our information for the registration and other things. So here in my example, I already tested like the API, and that's where we're gonna put like our info. So you can see that this one doesn't have like a design yet because I know someone else is making the design. But once the design is finished, it could we could easily like put the API inside it. So for example, with the registration, we have test module register. When you're naming your labels, the name is the one that gets submitted into the database. So here, I'll open Postman. It's not the ID of the modal, but the name. So whatever name you put here, that's going to be the name that's gonna be checked and forwarded into the database. So here, you can see that in my Postman, it's the same name. So for example, first name, it's the same here. First name, last name, last name, phone number, phone number. Because in our server, that's also how the name is. I'll open server. So this is the server code, and then we'll go to the user controller. I'll explain this on Friday. I'll explain this the server, but I'm just showing you, and you can see that this is what it is based on. So whatever name is put in the server, it should be the same name as the name in your modal here. So for example, if I just change it, I'll do a mock login. Let's do a mock login. Okay, so I can't do a mock login because for the server API, it's already live. I didn't set up a local server for it. I'll just do a mock login. So I'll deploy it. So you can see here, it's first name, right? So what if I change it to first name? Yeah, first name. Yeah. Okay, is success. Register user. Okay, and we'll put here first name. Yeah. Okay, so it's gonna check if first name yeah is not empty, and right now the name inside our in our form for the input is first name. It's not first name yeah. So I'm gonna go to our Slim API. What we're using is Slim framework. It's like easy. You don't have to like study a lot of things for that. Uh, user controller. Let's just verify. This is how you also check if like what changes you made. So right now I just made 2 changes. Okay. Um, and then review git add. What branch am I on? Git branch master. Git add dot git commit dash m. I'm pushing to master because like um it's I was setting up the server and stuff, and it's like tiring to make a lot of branches. But since the server is already set up, we're not gonna push directly to master. The same thing. We're gonna make a branch, but for example purposes and to make things faster, I'm just gonna push directly to master. Okay, so adding example for demo video. Okay, git commit and git push origin master. Right. Okay, I'll go back to the Heroku. Is this the slim? This one is the slim. Let's deploy that. If we had the local server set up, we don't need to do all this stuff. But since I was in a hurry, I just connected it the ritual to the production server. So I'm like, I don't care anymore. Anyway, so let's it's already deployed now. Okay, so let's go back. Uh this is localhost, but the server is not localhost. It's live. So when I click sign up and then I enter like whatever data and then I hit register, it's not gonna go through. You see that fields must not be empty, even though I put like I put the see here. It said failed to load, and then it gave me a 400 error because the name of our field on the server is not the same as the name of the modal. I meant the name of the field on our modal. So let's change that. So put yeah, first name yeah, and then yeah, that's all you do. Let's refresh that. Let's close that. Okay, let's. Oh no, since this is gonna go straight into the live, let's make the data tarong. So let's Jimmy Wiles, then 09222222, and then 1234 1234, and then register. And then you see it's success now. So that's like one pointer I will give. For now, it's up to you if you want to include the names. Pero if you're putting like the names on the data para sa modal, it's like fine if you include that or not. Kay, anyway, I'll orient you guys on Friday how to integrate the front end with the back end so that like it will all like be smooth and stuff. So okay, so that's like the review. Where you're gonna save your work is here, some modals. So here in our home hero folder, we have the components, CSS, images, JS, mock data, and we're gonna save it in the modals folder. So you can put whatever modals here, and it will dynamically integrate. So even though if our index page has only one modal, and that modal is a blank modal, it will show depending on the JavaScript we put in it. Okay, so that's all, and thank you so much.